Now many things can put your guitar out of tune. The main reasons being temperature, simply just playing the guitar, resting the guitar on the tuning pegs, and the worst of all, kids. So to counteract all of these forces of nature trying to mess with the sound of our guitar, we're going to need two things. The first is the most important one, a guitar tuner. I'm going to be using this one, the D'Addario Eclipse. However, if you don't own one of these, don't worry, as you can download any one of the free apps off of either Android or iOS on your mobile phone, and they'll work fairly well as well. I'll put a link down in the description for the tuner that I'm using, in case you want to purchase one of your own. If you do decide to buy anything through the link below, I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. The second thing you'll need to know is the names of the strings, which are as follows, from thick to thin, E, A, D, G, B, E. Or you could simply use Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie as a simple way of memorizing this. Okay, so we're going to start by clipping the tuner onto the headstock of the guitar and powering it on. Most tuners have a power button that you need to hold down to power on. So to get us started, I'm just going to detune my guitar. So that we've got somewhere to start from. Let's start by just picking our thickest E string, or you can call them Eddie if you want to be more personal, and letting the note ring out and see what the tuner says this is. So it's showing up as E, which is great, but you can see the bars below the E indicate this is too flat. So it's just slightly too low and we need to raise the pitch until it's dead center. So I'm going to grab our tuning peg and we're going to turn anti-clockwise. A quick side note and a useful bit of information to know at this point is that if you want to sharpen a note or raise the pitch higher, you need to turn the tuning peg anti-clockwise. And if you'd like to flatten the note or lower the pitch, then you need to turn clockwise until we slowly creep up to the note that we need. And when you finally get the note, you should notice that the note becomes locked in, indicated by two blue arrows and two blue lines. Here's a quick few tips that will help you with this process if this is your first time tuning a guitar. The first tip is make sure you're just picking the one note. You don't want to accidentally catch more than one note, as it will confuse the tuner and it won't display the right note. Make sure that you're not playing it too often, like this, but make sure that you're playing it enough as well, so we want to play it in nice steady intervals. Tip number 2 seems a bit silly, but it does happen and you just need to double check that you are playing the right string and turning the correct tuner. This is one of those things that beginner guitarists can make a mistake on, and you'll soon find that you're turning a tuning peg and nothing seems to be changing, and you'll keep on going higher and higher, and eventually what's going to happen is you'll snap a string. So if you're turning that tuning peg and nothing's happening, just make sure that both hands are doing what you want them to do. And tip number 3, this is another one to prevent you snapping a string. There's not much danger of you snapping a string if you do this correctly, as strings are designed to be stretched within their limits, and that's what tip number 3 is all about. If you grab your strings right now and just wiggle them about, that's the correct amount of tension. Now, if you notice that your string is incredibly tight, or one string is a lot tighter than all the others, then you've probably tuned it way too high, and you need to come down quite a lot until the tension feels the same as the others. Likewise, if your string is far looser than all the others, then you might want to consider tuning up until at least it matches the others. I wouldn't recommend doing that just now. That's in just these rare occasions where you notice that something's not quite right. Okay, let's move on to the A string. Right, so we'll pick our A string, let it ring out. Now you can see here it's coming up as A again, which is great, but it's slightly too flat because the bars are below the A. So we need to slowly turn this anti-clockwise in very small amounts until we reach the pitch that we need. Okay, now your A string's in tune, we're going to move on to the D string. So I'm going to pick a nice clear D string, E, A, D, it's the third one down. Now you can see here we have a D again, but this time it's actually too sharp, so it's too high. we're going to slowly turn this the opposite way. So this time it's going to be clockwise. Until we get it locked in. Another quick tip, make sure you turn your tuning peg incredibly slowly so you creep up to the note in increments. Otherwise you'll end up just shooting way past the note and having to come back and forth, which is quite common when you're just starting out. I'll show you what I mean. When in actual fact you only need to turn it in the smallest amounts and you'll get there far quicker. Okay, let's move on to the G string. E, A, D, G. So we're going around the neck this time. So I'm going to pick our G string. So in this case, this isn't showing up as G at all. This is showing up as F. And if you notice that symbol beside it, that's not a hashtag, that means sharp. A sharp means high, and a flat would be the opposite, would be low. So in this case, we've got an F sharp, and we need to go up to a G. So just imagine the alphabet going A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So in this case, we need to turn slowly clockwise until we've gone all the way through the top of this screen, and now we should be seeing G. And now we're going to slowly creep up to our G note. Okay, that one's in tune. Let's go to the B string. Once again, this is not a B, this is A sharp. So we're too low, we've got to go up to a B. Good. You can turn slightly more when it's a different note entirely, just to get through it. But once you're on the actual note, make sure you only do it in small increments. Okay, that's 5 out of 6. Let's do the last one. So the thinnest E string. So this time it's showing up as an E, it's just slightly flat again, so we'll slowly just raise the pitch. Now that you've gone through and tuned every single string on your guitar, the whole thing should sound a bit nicer and a bit more in tune. This process can take a bit of time at first, so be patient and you'll get quicker the more you practice. I would strongly recommend tuning your guitar every time you pick it up, or at least once a day, as it's not much fun putting time and effort into learning your first chords or songs or whatever it is you're working on, only for your guitar just to sound bad. Now that your guitar's in tune, why not click on my How to Play Guitar for Beginners playlist, which will teach you your first chords and strumming patterns to get you started on your guitar playing journey. And while you're at it, consider subscribing and click the notification bell to get notified every time I release one of my weekly videos. See you in the next one.